and welcome to the 2025 JSRA season.
What a race this has been. But there is Dominic Charles now sitting in the slipstream of the Australian, maybe trying to see if he can force a mistake.
Oh, what a move by Moss on the outside of Jaden Harrison.
Hold them Kimani as the fans are out and about. John just closing off the gap to the Trinidadian.
2, 1, go. Fast, sharp right. Fast, sharp right. Sharp right. Sharp right. Listen. Sabine.
Hello and welcome. We are live from Suzuka, a circuit that needs no introduction. This 5.8 kilometer 18 turn figure 8 layout is one of the most demanding tracks on the calendar, combining speed, precision and relentless challenges. From the iconic high-speed S's in Sector 1 to the tricky Degna curves, every corner is a test of commitment. The hairpin at turn 11 offers a crucial overtaking opportunity before the long run through Spoon Curve and down to the legendary 130R, one of the fastest corners in motorsports. It's a track that rewards the brave and punishes mistakes. The stage is set. Who will conquer Suzuka? Round 7 this evening. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Stephen Stewart. Usually alongside me is Mr. Mark Ryu, but unfortunately he will be missing in action this evening. But don't worry, we will have an action-packed evening as we enter into round 7. Quickly, we will take a look at the standings from last week. Luis Daniel Velez did take the victory at the last corner, snapping that podium from Mr. Rohey Robinson, that top step of the podium, as Mr. Rohey Robinson ran out of gas coming out of the final corner there at Monza. Estefano right there behind him was only 100th down because he himself, Mr. Daniel Velez, also ran out of gas on that last corner, but had enough to bring it to the final, the start finish line. So Daniel Velez did take P1, Estefano Barrero took P2, Rohey Robinson took P3. Raven Plummer did get a 5-second penalty, but not enough to drop her down the grid. Sticks in P4, Cal Barrett was in P5, did finish P6, but the penalty from Dominic Charles did relegate him down to P6 and promote Mr. Barrett to P5. So Kyle there, who was on at the times looked at the top step of the podium before a pit stop error, did drop down the field, but did do a bit of damage limitation to finish up in P5. Dominic Charles in P6, Roger Keller in P7, Kimani Eastman in P8, Riley Curtis in P9, and Jaden Harrison, after having a torrid end to his race, ended up into the pit entry, the wall at the pit entry when he was taking his drive-through penalty, and did as well accumulate a 5-second penalty there in the latter stages. Next up, we have Michael Thompson, who finishes up in P11. Mattia Mejia, who unfortunately will not be racing with us today for personal matters, did send his regards, finished in P12. Mikhail Charles in P13. Kadim Mohammed finished in P14. Chris Elliott in P15. Tizwante Aji in P16. Michael McNamee in P17. Sashan Falloon in P18. Rodrigo Senawal did finish up in P19. And to round the grid was Mr. John Singleton. Quickly, we'll take a look at the championship standings as Estefana Barrera has a demanding lead with 168.5 points. Daniel Velez in P2 with 131.5, followed by Rohir Robinson with 130 points, only a point behind Mr. Velez. Dominic Charles sits in P4 with 126.5 points. Jaden Harrison close behind with 120.5. Raven Plummer sits in P6 with 109. Christian Gomez in P7 with 87.5. Kyle Barrett finishes out the final payout spots in P8 with 86.5 points. Mikhail Charles with 59.5 in P9. Omar Escorcio with 50 points. Mattia Mejia in 11th with 48.5. Michael Thompson sits in P12 with 42 points. Kadeem Mohammed in P13 with 40.5. Roger Kello in P14 with 34 points. Kimani Eastman sits in P15 with 33. Odswin Wilson 32 points, only a point behind the Jamaican. Luis Arenas sits in P17 with 31 points. DeVille Park in P18 with 19. Michael McNamee sits in P19 with 17 points. Kurt Moss with 15 points sits in P20. Riley Curtis in P15 with 15 points in P21. Ruben Espinosa 13.5 points in P22. John Singleton in P23 with 10 points. Samuel Cortez in P24 with 2 points, and Nicholas Donald, who tallies out the last of the point scorers of this season, in P25. Ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute spectacle this season has been, and we are only just getting started. So as the racers continue to get ready, we have about 8 minutes left of practice. The drivers are just putting in their last few minutes of preparation. So while we ride along board with Mr. Cabaret here, Estefana Barrero does sit in P1, Dominic Charles in P2, and Rohir Robinson right now in P3. 2:11 loads should be the qualifying time. One person did mention they could see the 2:10s, so only time will tell. So let's see what will happen in the closing minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned. And ladies and gentlemen, practice is now officially over. We are riding along board with the last, well, Mr. Daniel Velez here, who will be finishing up his last flying lap. And he should be the last person to cross the line before the server moves into the next session. We will have a split qualifying session beginning in only a few minutes or a few moments, as the drivers will have their, well, be broken up into their two classes between the silver classes and the bronze. Again, this is not due to skill level, but just promotion through our JSRA driver's license system. So we will start with the silver class drivers, as they will be heading out in a moment, well, once the practice session has been has elapsed, and then the bronze drivers. So the silver will have 10 minutes to qualify, and then the bronze drivers will have 10 minutes to qualify after. So it's going to be a rapid next few moments. We're going to see the times falling. Drivers from all over, all around will be beating it one lap after the other. It will be a limited time in comparison to how it was before last week, but instead of 15 minutes you will have 10 minutes, but it's less persons on track, so you have more of an opportunity. So as Daniel Velez now comes around the final corner to set his last lap, we should have the next session starting in a moment. There we go. And qualifying, ladies and gentlemen, has begun. Ladies and gentlemen, we will go qualifying in the next 3, 2, 1. Roy Robinson will be leading the pack here and starting off the qualifying sessions for the silver class drivers. This is going to be fun, ladies and gentlemen. That is Mr. Mikhail Charles following right behind him, followed by, I believe that was Daniel Velez. So these three are rapid drivers, and three that you should look out for in the next few moments, because they have found their footing here this evening and in the previous with their race pace, especially over their qualifying pace. But Roy Robinson still in the mix for that top 3 step. He is now only a point behind Daniel Velez. Estefano Barrera is about what, 25 to 30 points in front of him. I'll confirm that in a moment's time. But that being said, we have 10 minutes of qualifying for silver, followed by a 10-minute qualifying session for the bronze class drivers. You see Mr. Robinson there pushing the tires, really trying to get as much warmth in as possible, as early as possible. So he's going to be one that we'll definitely be looking forward to watching in the next few moments. We have 2 sprint races upcoming. We have one 20-minute race, the race 1, which we will have the results from the qualifying session align us for the next few moments, followed by a reverse grid with the top 10 results from the first race. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, only time will tell, and I know the drivers are waiting, cannot wait to get the racing going, as we can hear them in the background, just waiting for their moment to shine here this evening, as Mr. Robinson there finishing up sector 1 and sector 2, and will be preparing himself now to begin sector 3. You can see him there using as much of the track, trying to get as much warmth into those tires as possible. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a very fun next 10 minutes. And here we have Mr. Robinson here Starting off the first lap of qualifying. This is now his official first lap. He did tell me specifically that he needs to do better this round, especially after the atrocity that he could carry on himself there in the last round, running out of gas in the final corner at Monza after having the strategy of the life of his life and almost won that race, did almost perfect to the T until that last final corner, just running out of gas and being passed by both Daniel Velez and Stefano Barrera. But now he sets a purple sector 1 with a 47.609. The next car behind should be Michael Charles, who does set it with a 48.638. So right now Rohe is looking very rapid. Luis Daniel Velez as well, 48.065, 48.071 for Dominic Charles. So right now Rohe is looking very good for sector 1 and looking like he is going to take the first lap by a good margin, about 4/10 clear of the next two behind him in sector 1. Sector 2 though, he is still looking very rapid as he's even setting a lap ablaze. We'll get a timer in a moment's time to see how his lap is going in comparison to the others. We have, is it Jaden Harrison? I haven't seen Jaden come out as yet, so I'm sure we'll see a lap from him sooner than later. But 54 seconds for Rohe Robinson, 54.451, and still 55.261 for Michael Charles and 56.169 for Daniel Velez. So right now Rohe looking rapid, but Dominic Charles now is the closest competitor with a 54.397, so does take that purple sector 2 from Rohe Robinson. Rohe now will have to put on for the rest of this lap and puts it in fastest lap of the week so far with a 2:11.013, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Charles now with a 2:13.643, 2:13.7 for Mr. Daniel Velez. Roger Keller as well next to come along. Oh no, my apologies, that's Raven Plummer who sets a 2:13. Dominic Charles passes the line, but looks like he may have invalidated his lap. Looked very rapid in sector 2, but sector 3 29.281, but it was invalid. That was about 7/10 clear of Rohe Robinson. So right now Dominic Charles looking like his closest competitor. Raven Plummer sits now in P2 with a 2:13.211, but right now 2 seconds clear is Rohe Robinson off the field. So he has made his bank account and will definitely be trying to see if he can improve. Did not improve in sector 1 with a 48.015, so still a relatively quick sector 1, but down about 4/5 already. So maybe this is his cool down lap, get back in charge and then get ready. But right now we're riding along board with Dominic Charles, who is on a hunt. He set a 48.003, so faster than his original sector 1, but still has a ways to go in sector 1. But his sector 3 again was about 7/10 clear, but he's in some traffic, so looking like he's backing out now to just allow some space and some breathing room. But Jaden Harrison, I have not seen him. So I'm sure we'll hear about something. Well, I'm sure we'll see him coming in sooner than later, because his time is running out as there's about 4 minutes remaining in this, well, 3.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session, and Jaden Harrison still yet to put out a lap, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from him sooner than later, hopefully. But yes, that being said, still riding along board with Mr. Dominic Charles. We're going to ride along now with Kyle Barrett, though, who is improving in sector 1, improving in sector 2, looking very quick actually, looking about a second up on his current time, which would be very good for him as he now sits in P8, but that was his banker lap. But he's looking rapid now, about 2 seconds up on his personal best. So right now we'll see where he will land. Kimani Eastman now in the top 3 with a 2:13.168, but the 2:11 still yet to be challenged here, and no driver has come close to Mr. Rohey Robinson here this evening, so we'll definitely continue to watch that to see what is to come. Kyle Barrett there with a 211.842, so that puts him up into P2. Roger Kello in P3. Raven Plummer did invalidate that lap, it seems. No, just a 2:13. No, yes, invalidated that lap, but does look like she's going to be trying her best to improve here this evening. Dominic Charles now, who should be starting his flying lap. No, it still improves in sector 1 by a few hundredths of a second. Finally in the 47s now, 47.930, 47.649 for Rohey Robinson. So Rohey, even though he's not improving, is still very close to his first lap, so he's looking rapid again to try and put a little bit of extra oomph onto his time. Raven Plummer, however, let me just pull her up real quick, as she is about 5/10 up on her time right now with a 47.815, looking rapid as well. So will she see the 211s now as she heads down now to finish up sector 2? She has a little bit of traffic, and I'm sure she'll be killing the likes. I think that's Daville Park in front of her. I'm sure she'll be cursing the likes of that BMW in front of her and trying to get them out of the way as quickly as possible. Jaden Harrison now joining the server with a minute left to go, so his qualifying session will not be allowed at this point because he, I'm sure, will not be able to get a lap out. There goes Rohey Robinson with a 211.123, so still quick but not quick enough. Raven Plummer now using the drop of that BMW. That BMW just getting in the way of her as she heads down now to start finish straight, and this time 212.2, so she has improved, but not enough. Dominic Charles as well does improve to a 212.022. Ladies and gentlemen, we have about 30 seconds to go until the bronze licensed drivers can go out. And ladies and gentlemen, Rohey Robinson has already taken his pit stop. He clearly sees that he is clear of the field and is looking to stamp that, and looks pretty comfortable with a 211.013, closest to the 210 so far. Kyle Barrett does sit in P2. Dominic Charles is right there on the rear end of another. Is that a BMW I see? Yes, it is. Raven Plummer as well right there in the rear end of Dominic Charles. So the three will cross the line back to back to back. Mikhail Charles as well still needs to improve as a silver class driver, but after him, as he comes down to the final chicane to start or finish up his last lap, will be heading back to the pits immediately after, and will try to move up and improve even ahead into the top 7. Remember the bronze class drivers, and there he goes, 212.757 for the Trinidad driver. Luis Daniel Velez in P5. Raven Plummer, Dominic Charles, woo, there finds the rear end of a BMW. I believe that was Daville Park possibly, so that looked very unfortunate for them there, but I'm guessing his time had gone through, as a 211.855 is now on the split. So ladies and gentlemen, we now have the qualifying drivers ready to go for bronze class, as silver is now in the pits. Estefana Barrero will be leading, and they will be taking strides in this next few moments to see where they can place ahead of the silver class drivers. Estefano is one of those drivers that you want to look into, well, definitely for the top split, as he is the championship leader. Riley Curtis has shown pace as well, so we'll see where he can finish off this evening as well. Michael Thompson, Riley Curtis, Sean Falloon, Tizwan Taji, and Christopher Elliott. Those are the bronze class drivers for this evening. Not seeing Jaden Harrison out either still, so that means he will be starting at the back of the pack. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have 7 minutes remaining in this qualifying session, and the racers are heating up. The qualifying is separated by 6 tenths between P1 and P2. Will Estefano be able to throw a little bit of drama here this evening, as he will be trying to head up and try and take back that position from the top 3 step podium sitters? So only time will tell. Rohey Robinson is the only one who does not have any ballast here this evening in the top 3, top 4, top 5, top 6, top 7. So he is definitely going to be enjoying race 1, and I'm sure he'll be trying his best to pull away as best as possible from the drivers behind. So right now Estefano has set a 47.969 for his sector 1, so does look like it's on pace for the top 3. 54.815 in sector 2. 54.206 is the fastest purple sector 2 so far, done by Rohey Robinson, so he's about 6 tenths off in sector 2. And now where will he place in sector 3? But he is doing well so far, not setting the track ablaze as yet, but still maybe enough for top 3 as he heads around the final corner now to finish off his first lap of the evening. And there he goes, P4 for the Colombian driver. We have, who is that? I believe it's Michael Thompson right behind with a 2:14. My apologies, Riley Curtis is the next driver that we want to, well, not even as yet, because Sean Falloon comes around the final corner now to place it at 2:19, followed by Chris Elliott now with a 2:17. But Riley Curtis is the next driver that we'll be paying attention to, as his sector 1 was 48.1, sector 2 54.972, so that's in pace for at least a top 10 finish or start, let me say. So he comes around the final chicane, comes around the penultimate corner now to head on to, you see him going on 2 wheels to start or finish up this lap, and there he comes blazing down the 212.872, enough for P8 top 10 start here for the Australian driver. Estefano Barrero is in the BMW M2. We'll be riding along board with him right now as we watch him tackle on these next few corners. I'll keep you, ladies and gentlemen, up to date with what is to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, based on my timing sheet, Estefano did not, it seems as if he set a very rapid sector 1, but looks like he did invalidate his lap. He set a sector 1 of 47.881, so I believe this lap will not be counting for the next lap. Is going to be his next, well, the next lap will be the indicative lap to see if he can improve or not, but he will definitely be trying his best. 55.453 for sector 2 as he comes around the final corner, passes the pit entry, and it will be starting his next flyer lap right now. And we'll definitely stay in tune. Riley Curtis again is one of those drivers. But there goes Michael Thompson. Does improve on his time, but not enough to get into the top 10. P13 is he. Riley Curtis again. Well, let me just take a look at Sashawn Falloon. He did do a 2:19.3, so will he improve as he comes around the final corner? Did improve in sector 1, did improve in sector 2, does a 2:17.4, took the place from Chris Elliott, but Chris rapidly taking that back with a 2:15.160. Tizwan Tahaji still hasn't set a lap as yet. There is Jaden Harrison now finally into the line or in a race, and will definitely be trying to capture where he will, well, he'll just have to be sitting down and will be starting at the back of this pack. But Estefano Barrero, my apologies ladies and gentlemen, has set a purple sector 1, so he has finally found his footing. Is it the right time for him, as he set a 47.499, almost a 10th clear, 47.649, or more than a 10th clear of the driver who sits in pole right now. So 47.6 499 is sector 1, 54.206 is the purple sector 2 to beat. Doesn't look necessarily rapid here in sector 2, but we'll ride along board and watch what he does in the next few moments. Not seeing any of the other drivers improving at the moment either, but we'll continue to watch and see what happens. But as it stands, Estefano is the only other driver improving, still looking like he could improve on his sector 2 and maybe make a step forward as he comes to finish up his next lap. He did a 55.007, so not slow but not as fast as he would have wanted. 54.2 is the real time that you want to aim for sector 2, but still enough, or should be enough, for at least a top 3 start if he can keep it going. He is now in P4 and should be improving as he comes around the start finish line, passes the pit entry, and there he goes, 2:12.022, and that does finish his lap. And that looks like he does not have, ladies and gentlemen, enough gas to do another lap. So right now he is going back to the pits and will not be having enough time. Estefano Barrero will start in P4. Riley Curtis there as well. We'll ride along board with him soon. But Sashawn Falloon and Chris Elliott, my apologies, comes around to finish up their flying laps, and there he goes, 2:15.160. Sashawn crosses the line and does not improve. Still has enough gas for one more run, so they have at least one more try to see where they can place. Riley Curtis still trying to improve. He is improving in sector 2, comes around the final corner, and this will hopefully be his improvement to take him into P6, and there he goes to relegate Daniel Velez and Mikhail Charles down 2 positions. And Riley Curtis there can do another lap, but there looks like he's out of gas and pulls over to the side. Michael Thompson as well is improving. It does look like he's going a little bit too wide there, so is that his lap invalid? Maybe so, not entirely sure, but did improve in sector 1, so will he be able to improve? Only time will tell, but that could have been an invalid lap. But right now as it stands, Rohir Robinson is in pole position, followed by the Jamaican of Kyle Barrett, followed by the Trinidadian of Dominic Charles, Estefano Barrero in P4, Raven Plummer in P5, Riley Curtis in P6, Luis Daniel Velez in P7, Mikhail Charles in P8, Roger Keller in P9, Kimani Eastman in P10, Rodrigo Senawild in P11, DeVille Park in P12, Michael Thompson, Chris Elliott, and Sashawn Falloon are the 3 drivers now trying to see who can improve their times and maybe, just maybe, move up into that top 10. Who will be the victor of these 3? There are 3 drivers ahead of Michael in the 213s, Kimani Eastman being one of them, being the final in the top 10. But here is Michael Thompson coming down into that final chicane, goes right, goes left, one more final right, and will this be his lap to improve? Did not look necessarily amazing in sector 2 or 3, but yep, there it goes. Michael Thompson sits in P13. Chris Elliott now comes around as well through that final chicane, goes through, and will be finishing up now Will he improve? Did he improve in sector 2? Looks like he's improving in sector 3, and a 214.874 for the Jamaican Sashawn Falloon right there behind with a 216.702. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your qualifying done. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have lift off right now as the drivers are preparing. I'm hearing them discussing their strategies. Some underselling their fuel, some overselling, trying to throw a little bit of drama. But right now, we have Rohir Robinson leading the pack in P1. Followed by Kyle Barrett in P2, Dominic Charles in P3, Estefano Barrero, the Colombian driver who does lead this championship, in P4, Raven Plummer from the United States of America in P5, Riley Curtis, the Australian driver of AC Karting, in P6, Luis Daniel Velez of Nova Racing in Colombia in P7, Mikhail Charles in P8 of Trinidad and Tobago, Roger Keller in P9, Chris Elliott in P10. I think I'm going a little bit off with these standings actually, so please allow the rolling start to come in and confirm the positions, because some of these drivers are a little bit further up than you would have hoped, but than they would have hoped, as a matter of fact. But yeah, we'll just have a little bit of issue on the timing sheet now, but it should iron itself out in a few moments time, as I believe Kimani Eastman is in P10, followed by Rodrigo Sanawile in P11, Deville Park in P12, and Michael Thompson in P13, followed by Chris Elliott, Sashawn Falloon, and Tizwanto Ajee. Jaden Harrison as well will be starting from last, and right now the rolling start has commenced, ladies and gentlemen. Just a reminder, there will be no real safety car this week, as I will be the one managing the race directorship and commentary, as my co-host Mr. Mark Ryu is unfortunately missing in action this week, but he will be back for the finale But that being said, as you know, we do typically have, or I do typically have the honors of driving that safety car. Unfortunately, this week I will be managing it from virtually, as the drivers will be tackling on the next few moments, getting ready for the battles to commence. So Rohit Robinson does lead the pack, looking very pry and very much like he can win this race, this evening's race. He looks very commanding, 6 tenths up on the closest driver behind him in Cal Barrett there, and Cal Barrett there warming his tires. Dominic Charles are right in the midst, and as I said earlier, it's Dominic Charles, then Estefano Barrera, then Raven Plummer, then Riley Curtis, then Daniel Velez, then Mikhail Charles, then Roger Keller, then Kimani Eastman in P10. The top 10 will be reversed for the second sprint race this evening. Rodrigo Senewild in P11, Deville Park in P12, Michael Thompson in P13, Chris Elliott in P14, Sashawn Falloon in P15, Tizwan Toaji in P16, and Jaden Harrison does. And I believe I got disconnected from the servo, ladies and gentlemen. Please excuse me for 1 second. Did the servo crash? Ladies and gentlemen, please give us a moment to figure out what's happening. Our servo has crashed, so we are checking to see what's happening. Just give us 1 moment's time as we try and just get everything sorted out as quickly as possible. Please bear with us as we try to figure it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are so sorry for the delay. It seems as if our servers over in Philadelphia had a crash. Blackout. My apologies. So all servers just went down, but we are tuning back everybody in. We will just allow the drivers to take back their positions from the original qualifying session. We will just allow the drivers to take their places. And ladies and gentlemen, after a torrid start to this evening's race with that servo disruption, we have finally gone racing, and what a evening of spectacles here, as the drivers have already started their battles and will be fighting it out. Clean start, as a matter of fact, thankfully, so we don't have to prolong much more of tonight's racing. Rohir Robinson does lead, following Dominic Charles, who's right there on the tail and definitely looking if he can make an imprint as quickly as possible. But right now we have 17 drivers. Jaden Harrison started in P17. I'm seeing him all the way up into P7 already. And as I speak, there is a likes of a safety car needed. Safety car, safety car, safety. And ladies and gentlemen, again, we apologize for the disruptions. That was a safety car. And what is going on there in the rear view? I saw another car flipping in the rear view mirror. Was that likes of a safety car? So two cars attached, so that is not enough for a safety car, so the drivers will continue racing as the lights have been given to these drivers. And hearing the drivers already complaining, this has been a torrid evening for many of the drivers, already hearing about some incidents that had taken place. And there was Kimani Eastman there outside of the track, so he's already finding some issues there. Jaden Harrison there literally just forcing his way through, and Chris Elliott now being the one that's just being hounded with a Ford, a Elantra, and a BMW right there on the rear end of his Alfa Romeo, but Rohir Robinson has taken this race by a storm. Riley Curtis, best position so far of this championship, with Estefano and Dominic Charles there right behind each other, fighting it out for P3 and P4. So this is going to be the battle that we will be watching, as the two are side by side, heading down now as they will be running down to 100R, one of the fastest and most epic corners here in motorsports, and the two are side by side, ladies and gentlemen, and they are going at it. They are unrelenting, as the two are literally not giving an inch to each other. And there they go. Estefano does come out looking a little bit more confident, goes as wide as he can possibly go as they head down now into the chicane. Estefano moves up into P3, Dominic Charles to chase for P3, and there, who was that? Cal Barrett there making a move on Michael Thompson, and is now on the hunt there for Luis Daniel Velez. Jaden Harrison moves up into P9 and is making that move on Michael Thompson already, as the two head down that start finish straight. And Jaden Harrison, I'm sure, will be trying his best to try and get in front of this driver, this BMW, as quickly as possible. As we saw last week, these two did find themselves in an incident and Jaden was not happy, but there you see Jaden hounding the rear end of that BMW and trying to see where he can find his footing here in the next few moments. But Jaden Harrison will be hunting down Michael Thompson for P8 in this top 10. And what a beginning to this race it has been. It's been a crazy few moments. Looking through the leaderboards now, Raven Plummer as well did fall back. Now it's hunting down the likes of Kimani Eastman, Jaden Harrison as well, still hunting down Michael Thompson. So as soon as we see a move there possible or happening, we'll definitely switch. And there seems as there he goes side by side with Michael Thompson, takes that move now into a heavy braking zone right now by turn 11. And there, well, no, not yet, but as he comes around this corner now, heavy braking and goes to the left, makes that move stick, and that is Kyle Barrett and Mr. Daniel Velez there in front, who the two that they will be trying to chase, or Jaden will be trying his best to chase right now to see where he can gain an advantage and get back up in the top 10 standings. But he did start out in P17 without a qualifying lap and now has to make his way up through the pack. And what well, I'm sure he's going to be hoping that luck will be on his side here this evening, as he's hunting down the likes of the Colombian in front of him. Kyle Barrett there now running away from the Colombian in P6, P7, and the Trinidad driver as well of Mikhail Charles hunting down his countryman and the next Colombian in front of him. So Mikhail Charles there, who typically has better race pace than qualifying pace, is right there on the rear end of not his brother Dominic Charles, but his friend his friend Dominic Charles. Mikhail will be hunting the likes of that red and white themed, Trinidad themed Renault here this evening. Kimani Eastman there heading now into turn 1, right there on the rear end, and has the likes of Raven Plummer there right in the rear view, just waiting to pounce. I'm sure she wants to dispatch of these two as quickly as possible. She typically has the pace, and you can see she has it. She just has to be as patient, especially on a track like Suzuka. Right now, these are the closest battles that we will be seeing, as Raven is just hounding the likes of that Hyundai Elantra, basically pushing it through those corners, just saying, sir, can you get out of my way as quickly as possible and give me light, just give me the light so she can see the likes of that BMW and get that position. But we've seen her make some miraculous moves there, as Kimani Eastman, we're getting this straight up. There they go, they do make a little bit of contact, and that is enough space for Raven Plummer to make the move. The Vale Park and Kimani Eastman, the two go off track and have to concede that lap or that position, and Kimani should be fuming over there in that Elantra. That is Jaden Harrison there as well, who's already on the rear bumper of Luis Daniel Velez, and I'm sure he'll be definitely trying to dispatch him as quickly as possible. These two are fighting for the championship as well, as Daniel sits only 1 point ahead of Rohir Robinson, but I believe it's about 10 to 15 ahead of Jaden Harrison. We'll take a look at that at some point, but right now you want to capitalize as much on the points in front So Jaden will be hunting him down, and there you see him already on the outskirts of that Ford Focus. The two are running down side by side, and it's Focus against Focus. I'm sure one used their hybrid system just to try and pull as far possible, as there you can see them going as wide on the curbs as possible as they head through 100R down to the chicane. And Jaden Harrison has made that move and is now on the hunt for his countryman in P7, Mr. Kyle Barrett. So we ride along board now. My apologies, I have been saying 1300R. This has been a very confusing evening here for me. But 130R, as the drivers are listening in on the radio and correcting me as we go along. But we're right along board now with Estefano Barrera, who is hunting down the likes of Mr. Curtis, the AC karting driver, now sitting in his best position in P2, and I'm sure we'll be definitely trying his best to hold off the charging Colombian right behind him. Dominic Charles there just dropping back little by little, only 2/10 behind. I'm sure we'll be definitely trying to see where he can catch back up as quickly as possible, as we have 8 minutes remaining in this sprint race. But Estefano Barrera is the driver who will be definitely trying his best to push along and see if he can gain back that second position. Right now he is still very much so in a commanding lead, so finishing P3 or P2 is very easy, or will be beneficial to him regardless. Rohey Robinson and Daniel Velez are his two closest competitors, one sitting in P1 and the other sitting in P8. In Daniel Velez, Jaden Harrison in P7, so I'm sure he himself will be trying to catch up as many positions as possible. Now would be a good time to have my running mate, Mr. Mark Ryu there, as we're right along board now with Rodrigo Davil and Kimani Eastman. Kimani went a little bit wide there, losing out that position now, so he will be struggling to gain back. So Davil Park promoted to P13. Estefano now and Riley will be fighting it out for the duration of this next 7 minutes. There you can see Estefano just climbing closer and closer and closer to the likes of the Australian driver, and I'm sure the two will be trying their best to see who can be promoted and who can be held off. But there you see Estefano just lurking right there, just pointing it in the rear end of that BMW and BMW crimes right now, as the two are going through the first three corners and fighting their way for the next few moments. Is this, though, ladies and gentlemen, bringing Dominic Charles there back into contention for that podium position? Because anything happens between these two BMWs and that Renault will just be right there ready for the picking. So I'm sure he himself will be looking forward to seeing what can come from these drivers here as the next 6 minutes, my apologies, goes on and elapses. And there you see Estefano taking a dive down the inside, making that move on the Australian driver, and heads out now and will be promoted. And that does put Riley a little bit on the back foot there, because as he is hunting down now the likes of Estefano, Dominic Charles is now lurking in the picture, only about 2 seconds away from the likes of the Australian and the Colombian behind. So Riley needs that BMW to pull him along now, to keep him away from the likes of that Trinidadian driver. But the BMW, hopefully will this be Riley's first podium here, especially in race 1 of our Caribbean Touring Car Championship. As you see there, Mikhail Charles, Kyle Barrett and Jaden Harrison as well, just following right in the slipstream of these drivers. So the top 2 to 7, still only separated by a few mere seconds. Rohey Robinson with a demanding lead. He himself just said he wanted to make a statement here this evening. He is the only driver, ladies and gentlemen, in the 211s with a 211.667 as his best lap so far, and setting 212s as a consistent pace here this evening. But there is Estefano there with a 212.6, 213 for Riley, and then Dominic is the next driver in the 211s with a 211.7, now putting on a pace to try and catch up to the two BMWs in front. So he's now on the hunt to see if he can dispatch the Australian driver and see if maybe, just maybe, he can catch up to the cars right in front of him there and see if he can make that move in the next few moments. We ride along board just to see if there's any other battle going on as we speak, but right now it looks like these are the closest battles, as Dominic Charles right there in the slipstream of Riley Curtis hunting down Estefano Barrero, and the trio fight it out for the final podium step and the second step of that podium. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is another opportunity just to apologize for that torrid start to this evening. We thought we had everything in place, but then the blackout over in where our servers are, unfortunately we lost quite some time, and even our real penalty that we typically use to manage our servers and the racing side of things. So unfortunate there for us, but as it stands now, the drivers are doing their best to do a little bit of damage limitation. The racing has gone on, and we have about 3 minutes remaining in this race one. We have one more race after this, so the racing will finish a little bit later than normally, but nonetheless the racers are going at it lap after lap. 2 minutes remaining, so I'm going to say it's about 2 more laps remaining here, as you see Rohey Robinson coming around the start finish line now, and he is with a demanding lead, almost 7 seconds in front, with a fastest lap of the race, an extra point going in his direction with a 211.387. Estefano Barrera there taking pulling away now slightly more and more every lap, and so is Riley. So the top 3 are looking safe. Hopefully that's not the commentator's curse, but Riley looking very much so like he will be able to cap off that final podium position. But Dominic Charles still hasn't given up as yet, and that is Kyle Barrett there, who we see in the background. So Jaden promoted into P6, Kyle Barrett there now into P7, and Daniel Velez there taking that position quickly from him. Michael Thompson and Raven Plummer are now on the rear end of the Jamaican, so they will definitely be trying to see if they can be promoted in the next few moments. But Daniel Velez now happy for that easy position, moves up now into P7. That puts Raven Plummer right on the rear end of Michael Thompson and Kyle Barrett, so they will also be fighting it out until the end of this race with 1 minute remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, what will happen in the next few moments as Raven Plummer hounds the rear end of that BMW? Dominic Charles as well, right there on the rear end of the BMW driven by the Australian driver, and there goes Dominic Charles to take that position, and right behind Jaden Harrison is hounding the likes of his Trinidad counterpart Mr. Mikhail Charles, and the two are going side by side now, and this is where you're going to see a lot of fighting coming in. This is what we deemed earlier as the desperation zone, and there goes Mikhail Charles holding off the likes of the Jamaican driver, but the Jamaican driver still hasn't given up. But there goes Dominic Charles and Riley Curtis as well, who are fighting it out as we speak for the final podium position. I'm hearing some chatter on the radio, so will this be something to be discussed in the post-race stewarding? But that being said, right now as we see it, Dominic Charles sits in P4, Riley Curtis in P3. Dominic Charles will be hunting down. We have less than a minute to go, and Rohey Robinson comes around, so he'll have 1 lap plus 1 more, so we have about 2 more laps of racing, ladies and gentlemen. gentlemen, Jaden Harrison through the chicane takes up P5 from the Trinidad driver, but we know he's not one to give it up. So Mikhail Charles will be hunting down the likes of the Jamaican right in front of him. Mikhail Charles P6, Jaden Harrison P5, Dominic Charles P4. And what a battle this is. Daniel Velez now trying to break the slipstream of Mr. Mikhail Charles, Mr. Kyle Barrett there right behind. So they will be fighting it out in the next few moments. Estefano Becerra, Rohi Robinson clear off the field. Riley Curtis now will be pulling away and trying to keep as far as possible from the likes of the Trinidad driver right behind him, who is now in the clutches of Jaden Harrison, but not close enough is Jaden. But Jaden is pulling away slightly from Mikhail as well. So this is his moment to pull away and maybe see if he can get an edge in the next few moments. But we'll get back to that in only a moment's time, as Kyle Barrett there is hounding the rear end of the Colombian driver, and who would have maybe thought that he had that move done and clear off the drivers behind. In Daniel Velez is now being chased by the likes of Mr. Kyle Barrett, so he himself will definitely be trying his best to try and hold off the likes of the Jamaican behind him in that Ford Focus. And there goes Kyle Barrett, they're late on the brakes. The door was closed very late by Daniel Velez, and I believe that was without a doubt that was contact, and that puts Raven Plummer now in the midst to try and see if she can make a move, but the three now will be fighting it out. I'm sure Kyle will be upset at that, but I'm sure we'll be hearing about it in the post-race stewarding. Now the three will try to fight it out. 4P7 in these closing stages. The leader is coming, still hasn't passed the start-finish line, so we still have 2 more laps to go. But right now, Raven Plummer makes a move. Kyle Barrett also makes a move. And who is that? Michael Thompson. So Daniel Velez loses 3 positions in 1 corner as the leader now comes around the final corner to start the last lap. And this will be his final lap and everybody's final lap after this, as he sets another flying and best lap of the session. But we'll just stick along with this battle because this is where the action is. And there goes contact with Michael Thompson into Kyle Barrett now. And Raven Plummer and Daniel Velez move up. Kyle Barrett being the biggest loser. Michael Thompson again finding himself in the midst of the discussion here for just a bad move that will just throw and ruin a man's race even further than it already was. But that is unfortunate. That's not how we wanted to see that battle end. But Daniel Velez now will be hunting down the likes of that American driver in Raven Plummer. She will be holding off that Colombian. The leader is, everybody right now is on the final lap. Rohi Robinson P1, Estefano P2, Riley Curtis P3, Dominic Charles P4, and Jaden Harrison there right in the back of that Trinidad driver in a P5. We've seen these two fight it out until the last corner in previous races. Will Jaden have enough to catch? He seems sliding that Ford Focus through the corners, and he is on the hunt trying his best. But we know Dominic Charles is a Fernando Alonso of defense, and he will put on a defense of his lifetime to try and hoard off the likes of a Jaden Harrison. But Jaden Harrison, being a Max Verstappen, knows how to put that car where to put it. But still, the Australian driver still has a ways to go, because he has the likes of the Trinidadian driver right behind him trying his best to push him through. Please look at the picture in the bottom right, as you can see the bumper of the Renault hunting down that BMW. There you see Jaden going extremely wide, and now this looks like it's going to be a hunt down to the final chicane, as we see Rohi Robinson heading down by 130R, heading down now into the final chicane to end this race for himself. And Rohi Robinson, I will be shooting into him in a moment's time. But there you see it, Jaden Harrison, Dominic Charles. I'll get back to this fight in only a moment's time, as Rohi Robinson comes around the final corner, did not put 1 foot wrong, and finishes off in P1 by demanding almost 10 seconds. Stefano in P2, but Riley Curtis does hold off the likes of Dominic Charles and Jaden Harrison. Jaden Harrison tried his best but could not get that move done in time. P3 for Riley Curtis, his first podium finish here at the JSRA. Raven Plummer comes around now to finish in P6. Daniel Velez in P7, who had Roger Keller there hounding the rear end of him. Kyle Barrett there again, another disappointing finish for him, unfortunate for him. And this has just been a very dramatic evening Michael Thompson in P10, Eastman in P11, Mikhail Charles, who was in the top runnings, finishes out in P12, Rodrigo in P13, Davil Park in P14, Chris Elliott in P15, Tizwan Taji in P16, and Sashan Falloon in P17. We will take a ride along with the leader as he finishes his victory lap here this evening. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back and ready for another 20-minute sprint race, and what a finish and an end to the race one. That was a lot of dramatics here this evening as we had that slow start at the beginning, but nonetheless, look at what we could have missed out on, and what a battle this has been. This has been absolutely epic to watch, and the racing has been going on. Whew, what a battle this has been. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, Michael Thompson will be leading the grid here at the JSRA, followed by Mr. Kyle Barrett there, who again just always, or not always, but seems to just find himself into some very unfortunate circumstances with persons finding the rear end of his Ford Focus, but he does sit now in P2, Roger Keller in P3, Luis Daniel Velez in P4, Raven Plummer in P5, Jaden Harrison in P6, Dominic Charles in P7, Riley Curtis in P8, Estefano Barrera in P9, Rohey Robinson in P10. And this, again, unfortunately, we do not have the real penalty, but Rohey Robinson did win race one by a demanding margin, but now sits with 60 kilograms. Now sits with 60 kilograms, so he will have to fight his way back through the pack and see where he can catch back up to the drivers up top. Jaden Harrison is one that you want to watch us alongside Dominic Charles. Those two are going to be beating it through the field, as well as Daniel Velez, who did sit in P2 in the championship standings. I'm sure he will be trying his best to try and get away from the likes of Jaden Harrison and Rohey Robinson here, as they will be the ones hunting him down for that P2 position. I believe after that move, after race one, right now Rohey should be in P2 by a few points, maybe about 6 or 5 points. So right now every point is going to count here in this championship, ladies and gentlemen. You do not want a DNF. You want as many points as possible, and you want as many places as possible, because remember, the prize pool goes from 1st to 8th, so the drivers are fighting it out. As Stefano Barrera has a demanding lead in the championship standings, but did finish in P2, so he has quite a substantial lead that he will be trying to defend and extend. So he himself will be trying his best to try and pull through as most as possible. And ladies and gentlemen, as we come around 1:30R, heading down now to the chicane, the leader is Mr. Michael Thompson. The leader has reached the start finish line. The final corner, sorry. Green light racing, green light racing, green light racing. And ladies and gentlemen, there and we have gone racing, ladies and gentlemen, and the fights have already started there at the back, and we have Rodrigo Senna Wild now right around the back. And already having to deal with some driver disputes there, and there it goes. All right, save the car, save the car, save the car. Leader, bring it to 50, please. And ladies and gentlemen, we have started already and the drivers are out. That is Daniel Velez, who has taken the lead of this race. Jaden Harrison side by side with his countryman there with Cal Barrett now as they head down now into turn 2, 3 and 4. And this is going to be a very demanding portion of the track where the two, but now they make contact and there goes Dominic Charles there to take that position from the two Jamaicans. So one Colombian leads this race, followed by Dominic Charles, the Trinidadian driver who just saw his opportunity and took it with a breath. And now Jaden Harrison sits in P3, Riley Curtis in P4, Estefano Barrera in P5, Rohi Robinson is in P12. So he clearly did not get the best start that he would have wanted, but there goes Jaden Harrison taking a look on the inside there of Dominic Charles and seeing where he can make that move. And now the three will be fighting it out for the foreseeable future. Riley Curtis again has the likes of that Colombian in that BMW right there behind him in Estefano Barrera, and I'm sure we're trying to defend for his life. And there you see it, Jaden Harrison there going side by side with Dominic Charles now, and the two are unrelenting side by side as well is Estefano and Riley Curtis, but Riley getting a better run out through and heading down now into that heavy braking coming up in a moment's time. Estefano just breathing down, takes a look on the inside and does make contact with Riley Curtis. So does Jaden, it seems, and those two will be well, it looks as if Estefano has given back that position quickly just to maybe save himself from any penalties. Mikhail Charles there now on the rear end of that Colombian BMW. DeVille Park as well hunting down Raven Plummer as well in P8. Rohi Robinson has made up a position as well from P12 now into P11, still not too far away, so he will definitely be trying to catch up as quickly as possible. Jaden Harrison now still hunting the likes of Dominic Charles. Seemingly he has given up that position as well, maybe to avoid a potential penalty, so he will be running down and trying to make that move stick in a legal manner. Again, we didn't know what had happened, so please, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but as it stands, the positions are back into the original positions, and Estefano being hounded now by Mikhail Charles, the Trinidad driver, as Mikhail Charles now heads in front of the two, the Australian and the Colombian. But guess what? Estefano with the switcheroo takes back that position from the Trinidad driver, but the Trinidad driver hasn't given up, neither has the Australian in Riley Curtis, so the two are going side by side, and Riley there just hounding down now, waiting on his moment to gain back and get back that position from the likes of the two in front of him. But Riley now will be looking into the rear end of Mikhail Charles. Mikhail Charles looking into the rear end of Estefano in that BMW, but the train goes down all the way down to P9 with Cal Barrett there hunting down the likes of the female driver in Raven Plummer in P8. This battle is absolutely epic, ladies and gentlemen. We'll only be able to watch and see what is to come in the next few moments. So there is Estefano losing his position again to Mikhail Charles, who has taken it back. You know, Mikhail is unrelenting, and there Estefano trying that position again. Mikhail Charles with the switcheroo possibility, no, and loses out 2 positions as Riley Curtis and Estefano take that position away from him. DeVille Park as well sneaking in down the inside. Now on the outside, and the 3 make it into 4, into 5, and this is going to be a battle all the way through, ladies and gentlemen. Heartbreaking now for DeVille. DeVille does lose back 2 positions. Kyle and Raven now. Raven moving up into P6 and takes it from Kyle and Mikhail Charles. I can't keep up, and even Riley Curtis. So Raven Plummer now has taken P5. Kyle Barrett now in P6, Riley Curtis in P7. The battling still hasn't ended yet, as the drivers are still going at it neck and neck, tooth and tooth, as Riley on the outside there, and there they go out slightly off the track. Kyle Barrett now taking back P5 from the likes of Raven Plummer. Estefano using this as his moment to get away as quickly as possible, but there the two, Kyle, and now again Kyle finding another incident, just being tapped in the rear, and that is a heartbreak for the Jamaican. Has to take his time to get back on track and rejoins in second to last. That is heartbreak for the Jamaican. What a crazy start here, and the battling still goes on. Rohi Robinson in P9, Mikhail Charles are hunting Kimani Eastman now, and will he be able to make back that position? Raven Plummer as well being hunted by the likes of Riley, Davil, Michael and Rohe and Kimani and Mikhail Charles. So the train goes from P5 all the way down to P11. Jaden Harrison still hunting down, just like Estefano. Did lose some time, but not too much time, to the likes of Jaden and Dominic in front. So the three will be chasing down Daniel Velez, who did win the endurance last week at the last corner. Will he be able to pull off a double trouble here this evening as Jaden hunts down the likes of Dominic? Dominic chases down Daniel Velez, and Estefano chases down Jaden Harrison. We have 10.5 minutes remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just wait to see what is to come here in the dying moments of this race. As you see, Mr. Rohe Robinson there making that move on Michael Thompson, pushes him wide, gets the move just by the edge of the tooth, and now moves up from P9 to P8. Michael not giving it up as yet though, but Rohe just placing that car exactly where he needs to place it. But the two will go side by side now, maybe using a little bit of that push to pass, that hybrid system. But there goes Michael on the inside, will be pushing Rohe Robinson wide, but not wide enough, as Rohe still stands his ground. Mikhail Charles there, right there in the rear view, waiting on his moment to pounce as well and see where he can gain his position back on the cars ahead. But he then goes right there. He goes Mikhail Charles side by side with Rohe Robinson and takes back P8 and P9 from the likes of the Jamaican driver. Will he make the move on Michael Thompson? The Trinidad driver makes up 2 positions in one corner. Rohe Robinson hasn't given up as yet though, as Rohe sits in P9, and there goes contact by Michael Thompson, and was that Kimani Eastman? So that's Mikhail Charles and Kimani Eastman that got into that incident. But Rohe Robinson now is the victor of all and makes his way up into P7 and will be now hunting down the likes of Riley Curtis. Kimani Eastman in P8, Michael Thompson in P9, DeVille Park in P10. I'm sure we'll be hearing about this in the stewarding room. But wow, what a battle this has been. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Dominic Charles has reached the rear end of that Ford Focus. We have a Ford, then a Renault, then another Ford, one Colombian, one Trinidadian, and one Jamaican driver, as the three are hunting down each other. And will this be the moment to bring Estefano right back into the mix? But there goes Dominic Charles hunting down the Nova Racing Store driver. Dominic Charles needs this victory now. Takes a look on the outside, but close the door very abruptly is Daniel Velez now. So Dominic Charles there hunting. Jaden Harrison as well, just waiting on his moment to pounce. Cal Barrett there with a DNF, and I'm sure that's heartbreak for him after a very dramatic evening. And my heart goes out to him again as he ends up, he always puts on one of the best drives out there, but then just has some unfortunate incident with one of the drivers in the background. So very disappointed to see his race ended so soon with 8 minutes remaining, and again just another torrid end to his race here at the Caribbean Touring Car Championships. But that being said, we'll continue to ride along board now with these top 3 as it's a train to the top. We have 7.5 minutes, 6 laps have elapsed, and we have another roughly about 4 laps to go. Roughly, by the way, just to put that out there. But yeah, that being said, the battles are still on. Michael Thompson being hounded by the likes of the Jamaican now. The two countrymen beating it out now. BMW versus Hyundai Elantra, the fart machine, as the two make a little bit of a contact, but not enough to destroy anybody's race. And there they go, side by side. Kimani Eastman trying to pull a switcheroo, but not enough. Goes on the inside, takes a look, but not enough. Maybe a little bit of contact, not too much again as they go through the chicane. Kimani Eastman trying his best to get the best run that he can possibly get, heading out to the final corner and try and make this move stick on his countryman in front of him. Michael Thompson will be running to try and hold off that Jamaican behind him. And there goes Jaden Harrison down the inside as he makes that move on the Trinidadian driver. The two are going side by side now as they head up now, and they will be fighting it out. Daniel Velez, I'm sure, will be hoping that this fight will go until the end, but there they make a little bit of contact. Jaden is on the better line there. If he can hold the inside line, there he goes, and there's contact with Jaden into the rear end of Daniel Velez, and that is Dominic Charles there making the move. Daniel losing out 2 positions in 1. I'm sure we'll be hearing about that in the stewarding room. And there it is. The roles have been reversed from P1 and P3, but the P2 still stands in P2. Jaden Harrison is now still chasing down the likes of Dominic Charles, and the 3 will be fighting it out as Dominic still holds off that position. Daniel Velez now should be fuming as he's now dropped from P1 to P3, and the 3 will be fighting it out now. 5 minutes remaining. The 3 have had a remarkable pace all race. 2:11.7 is the fastest lap so far of the race, done by Jaden Harrison. 2:11.5 is the fastest lap so far. As you see, Jaden there still hunting the likes of Dominic Charles there, and still trying his best to see if he can maybe get that position away from the drivers ahead. We have 4 minutes remaining, and the battle is still yet to be completed, ladies and gentlemen. Dominic Charles now, the Trinidadian driver, is leading this race, and he is looking very good. And as we've seen him in the past, he can put on a world of defense here. As we've seen it before, I'm sure we will see it again. Will Jaden have enough in the dying moments? This is closing down now into the desperation zone, and there goes Jaden Harrison as we speak. Dominic looking like he went a little bit too wide there. Now Jaden will have to make that move, and I'm sure we'll be trying to extend this lead as far and quickly as possible because of what we've seen earlier. Not sure what will come after we take a look through the stewarding, but I'm sure we will be hearing about it or from the drivers here this evening. But that being said, Dominic is now in P2, followed by Daniel Velez now, who is still, I'm sure, fuming and will be trying his best to see if he can make back that position in either P2 or P1. Time can definitely be a friend here for him. He has 3 minutes remaining, and he's just there in the midst. Estefano right there in not no man's land. He's right there ready and waiting. If anything can happen, he will be the first to pick up on any point. So he, I'm sure, will be just waiting on any move that will come to fruition. But there goes Michael Thompson versus Riley Curtis. Rohei Robinson did make a move up into P6 from Riley Curtis. So Rohei just having a very quiet but just very strategic race here, as he's just making his way up one by one. The Australian driver of Riley Curtis now being hunted by Mr. Michael Thompson in P8. P7 still up for grabs, and it's Dominic Charles still chasing down Jaden Harrison and trying his best to see where he can get that position away from the Jamaican driver. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 1 minute remaining in this race, and Jaden Harrison still has the lead from Dominic Charles, but will definitely be needing to pull a little bit of a gap based on what we've seen earlier. So Estefano is putting on lap after lap 212 lows, and we'll be just trying to see if he can get into that. Again, not to speak anything into being, because we still have to look through and see what had happened, but in that 5-second region, just in case of a penalty coming to the likes of any of the drivers in front of him. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the penultimate lap. We have one more lap of racing after this, and as it stands, Jaden Harrison does sit on pole position, followed by Dominic Charles, followed by Daniel Velez, and the three will be fighting it out until the end of this race. After once a leader passes the start finish line, he will have one more lap of racing to go, ladies and gentlemen. One more lap of racing to go. And ladies and gentlemen, we are on the final lap, and Jaden Harrison leads from Dominic Charles, from Luis Daniel Velez, from Estefano Barrero. So only time will tell how this race will unfold, but this is, ladies and gentlemen, the final lap. Riley Curtis and Michael Thompson still having a battle and a shootout here for P7. So this battle will take us all the way until the end. And Roger Keller as well has found himself into the mix to see if he can even find himself being promoted into any of the positions in front of him. And right now, Jaden Harrison looking like he's going to hold off the charging Trinidad and Colombian driver behind him for the moment's time at least. But Dominic Charles still not giving up, only 5/10 behind. So he has a final run. We've seen him take it up until the last corner before. So this is still up for grabs between the two. This is the final lap. This is the final lap as they head on now to 130R, the fastest corner on the track, one of the fastest corners in motorsport. And the two will be hunting each other, hunting as they try and tackle this next few corners. But right now, Jaden Harrison looking like he's going to take this by a few mere tenth of a second. Jaden Harrison comes around the final chicane to finish off this race, passes the pit entry and takes the lead to take the victory. Jaden Harrison with the fastest lap of the race in P1, Dominic Charles in P2, Daniel Velez in P3, Estefano Barrera in P4, Raven Plummer comes around to finish off in P5. Rohir Robinson did as great as he could to finish up in P6, especially after the start that came on him. Comes around for P6. Michael Thompson in P7, Roger Keller in P8, Riley Curtis in P9, Kimani Eastman in P10. Oh, my apologies. Kimani Eastman looked like he got that position right at the end. But it looks as if the timing sheets might have distracted me for a second, but yeah, it seems Kimani in P10, Riley in P9, Rodrigo Senewal in P11, Chris Elliott in P12, Sashawn Falloon in P13, and Tizwanta Aji in P14. Jaden Harrison, Dominic Charles, and Daniel Velez. Doing some front wheel drive donuts there is Dominic Charles, so we'll hear from him in a moment's time, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll get the drivers ready in for their post-race commentary. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I would apologize for my camera as it stands something did get into my eye, so I might be doing this one half blind for the start of this interviewing session. But we will be kicking off this evening's race with Riley Curtis, who finished off his for the first time in JSRA history. Riley finished in P3 after a brilliant race. He had P2 and had to defend against the likes of Estefano Barrero. Riley, a driver from AC Karting, has shown improvement race after race, has had some unfortunate incidents with a few of the other drivers from time to time, but has shown his pace, has shown his talent, and after a lot of hard work and finally making it to the top, Riley Curtis finishes off in P3. Riley, can you hear us?
Yes.
Riley, first of all, congratulations, sir. I am so sorry for the beginning of this race.
Yeah.
With all the drama. But that being said, and I will apologize as well. Something got to my eye and it's been messing with my sinuses ever since. But yes, can you walk us through race one? With all of the drama, first of all, with the the Holy race restarts, and then just the original safety car that just popped up, and you just were at the prime position at the right time. Can you walk us through the beginning stages of that race?
Yeah, well, I got a good start, and then like so many crashes just happened and everything came out of my way, and then just the safety car came out and I was in a good position, and then kind of just went from there and made a couple of positions, and
And then your second race now, it was quite eventful, if I do say so myself. You had a lot of battles there, especially in the beginning stages. Could you walk us through that?
Yeah, I kind of blame it on the ballast, to be honest, but yeah, there's a lot of crashes and everyone went everywhere, but at the end, everyone had a good race, I think.
Okay, well, that definitely should put you up in the standings, in the championship standings after your showcase today. So maybe even more of a possibility for some earnings here at the JSRA. So any comments on tonight's race, especially with all of the drama here there in the early stages?
Not really, just happy with the results, and good job JSRA for hosting the event.
Well, Riley, thank you, and good job to you as well. Congratulations on your podium here in round 7 at Suzuka, and looking forward to many more with you up here.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, Riley, have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was Riley Curtis finishing P3 in race 1. We now have Daniel Velez, Nova Racing driver, won the race last week. For a while, looked like he could have made another double or another P1, had the likes of Dominic Charles and Jaden Harrison chasing him until that incident with himself, and I believe it was Jaden Harrison, but did finish on the podium in P3 for race 2. Daniel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Dan, can you, well, firstly, again, we are sincerest apologies for the beginning of this race with the server issues, things outside of our control, but nonetheless, it did prolong a lot of what was and what should have happened. But nonetheless, the racing was absolutely epic. I enjoyed watching it. I'm already losing my voice from the battles, especially from the first race. Can you walk us through race 1 before we get to race 2?
Yeah, sure. So, sadly, today was not a good day. On the qualifying, I lost my fast lap due to being distracted. That was unfortunate. I think I was going for 4th place or something. And then on race 1, due to the issues with the server, it seems that it crashed my MOSA program. So when I reopened it again, I did not show that the degrees were at 540 instead of 900. So I was turning, like, let's say 5 degrees on my hands, but on the game it was 10 degrees, like double.
Oh, no.
So I had no real control on the car. I was losing a lot of time. Unfortunately, Kyle hit me pretty hard on the battles and make me lost a lot of like 3 positions, and then Raven passed me and I was not able to to catch back to her due to the issue with the steering wheel. So yeah, that's the resume of the first race.
And I mean, it was a little off-putting to see you down there, and I do remember that incident with Kyle. He himself had a rough race himself. A lot of persons finding the rear end of his Ford Focus just the same, but nonetheless, we'll take a look in the post-race tuning as we typically do. But the second race now, you looked like you had that lead, you had that win up for grabs, and then Jaden Harrison there, I believe it was Jaden, ran into the rear end of your car, and that just pushed you from first to third, and then that battle between yourself and Dominic just looked very, enticing for a very good time until the space just kind of got separated a little bit. But can you just give us your thoughts on that incident quickly?
Yeah, well, how to say? I think it was really clear. They just totally lost the breaking point. Hit me really hard, sent me off, and continued to battle for position. So, at least I know that I am going to be second, totally, because that was a bump pass. So that and also I was watching him over and over going really outside of the track, especially. I don't know if it is 130R or which one is the fastest turn of the
130.
track. Yeah, so he was continually over going outside of that turn, and sometimes like 2 or 3 turns before it. So yeah, from that moment I was just like trying to keep it myself down, because to be honest, I was not happy with the race today and with the touch. So yeah, just trying to continue to put the car where it is and doing a clean race, not going outside of the track. And when I was close to
Dominic.
which is to Dominic, trying to not hit him, because there was a moment where the three of us were really close. So yeah, at that moment before the hit with Jaden, the fight was good. I knew that a hard fight was coming for me, because they were being faster than me. I was totally lost on the steering wheel due to racing the first one with a lot of sensitivity. So I was trying my best to keep it. But now I'm worried, because Roger won a lot of points today,
Yeah.
especially winning the first race. So yeah, the championship. Well, the championship is very likely like Stefano has already won it. So congrats for Stefano. And yeah, let's see what happened on the next race with Roger fighting for second.
Right, because you were only a point ahead of him. He did win the first race, and then you came. Well, it again, as you said, it looks like you will be coming second this evening. So at least that's damage limitation. He did finish the second race in P6. So we'll see how that championship heads into the final round. But that battle for P2 is going to be hot, Daniel. Any final thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, no. So Roger has been a fantastic driver. He has been showing it over and over. Really fast on the quali, is really fast on the position. So yeah, the fighting on the championship has been amazing. The championship itself has been amazing, and I have to thank you, because your work today, oh my God, I didn't want it to be on your foot today. Controlling the race and being on the commentary, you did it amazing, bro. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Well, thank you, because without you guys, we wouldn't have anything to present. So, but again, we do express our sincerest apologies to you, the drivers, and to our fans. It's things outside of our control, but nonetheless, we do try our best to keep it as professional as possible. But yeah, I would have preferred being behind the wheel this evening, I won't lie. But that being said, Dan, it's always a pleasure to have you here, bro, and looking forward to many more with you as we cap off and reach into the final round next week at the Melbourne circuit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Enjoy your night.
You as well, and thank you too. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Daniel Velez, who finished in P3 here this evening. High chance that he will be promoted after that bump pass with himself and Jaden Harrison. But we'll leave that for the post-race shooting. Right now we have Dominic Charles there, who is fighting in this overall championship standings. Dominic, can you hear us?
Yep, loud and clear.
Well, Dom, first of all, again, I had to apologize to Riley and Daniel there for the beginning of this race. It was hectic, to say the least, but nonetheless, we got through it. We got through another race. All glory to God. But again, we just want to extend our apologies to you. But still, what an epic race that was in race 1 and in race 2. Can you walk us through your first race first before we get to that battle between yourself and Jaden in race 2?
Yeah, of course. Before that, uh, you're apologizing for the late start and everything, but I know how this goes. I've organized these things
Yeah.
already, and yeah, things just really get out of your control at sometimes.
Absolutely.
But for race 1, well, I really didn't expect to do that well in qualifying. That worked out for the better. I do like Suzuka quite a lot, so I had to have a good show in here. And with that extra ballast, the the front end of this Renault, you really need to wrestle it into the corners.
Oh no.
But I think it went pretty well. I saw a little chaos behind, and we had the restart. Riley jumped me on the start, if I remember correctly. He was just quicker on the restart. But I had a good little fight up until close to the end where Jaden caught up, and I was alongside Riley on the outside, and I guess he understated a little too much and gave me a nudge into the sand. So that was the end of that fight there. It's just to hold Jaden off till the
Right.
end of the race.
Right, because we didn't see it on the stream. We're wondering what had happened there, because I did hear not an as little question mark there in the chat. So I was wondering what had happened. So that does bring a little bit of clarity. But still, that battle looked very fun up until the end, and to even hold off Jaden was absolutely epic. And then to go and find him back in race 2, we did say you'd have to put on an Alonso effort of defense. We've seen you do it before, and you did it again today. But he did make that dive and into the rear end of Daniel. So yeah, could you give us your thoughts on that incident, that battle itself, how you had to be putting that car where you needed to place it, and just even seeing him make that move and then having to try and make back that move on him. Could you walk us through that?
Yeah, I kind of proud to say it. That one was calculated. Because I noticed every time we went into that corner, Daniel would brake just at the same point I would, but Jaden was just a little later than us. And I realized if he ever got alongside me, just set it up so he had to dive both of us. And my God, that just went
Perfect.
perfectly. I wish they didn't take each other out, but it worked out so well. I couldn't really believe it, and I just kept on the brakes so I could, go on the inside and take advantage of the situation. But after that, I had a little off under the bridge. I just barely touched the sand, and it dropped me back like a whole second. And well, I mean, Jaden flew past me.
We
No
saw.
mercy after that.
We saw.
But it was fun trying to catch right back up to him. I just didn't have the pace. My tires were kind of short after trying to defend all that time, and I couldn't extract any more to that car. I'm sure Jaden had some left in the tank, to be honest, because he was flying towards the end there. So, I mean, that was really fun. I really enjoyed race 2.
Well, just to say the least, you can watch back the stream. It did look kind of like you did set it up, so I'm glad my intuition isn't too off. But epic battle nonetheless. It was fun. It was extra. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice already that I'm losing it. I enjoyed this race. It was absolutely epic to watch. And just to cap it off, you did head into this round only 4 points behind Rohe for P3 and 5 points behind Daniel Velez for P2. So you're right there in the picking for the top 3. Any final thoughts as we head into the final round next week?
Yeah, I hope I survive the next round, because if I get a chance to run in some clean air, I think I could take the championship.
Well, Estefano, I believe, should be taking the victory after today, if my calculations are correct. But P2 is definitely still up for grabs.
Yeah. Wait, aren't we in? I think we're in different classes, so I'm fighting for a whole different race than he
Right,
is.
right, 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 right. No, sorry, I was talking more the overall standings. But yeah, in your class, yes, you're right. You are very much
Yeah.
so up for the silver class gold championship, which would be so nice to, if I do say so myself. So, um, good luck, sir, and I'm looking forward to that battle between you, yourself, and Rohe and Daniel Velez, and even Jana Harrison, who is not too far behind. So we'll definitely look forward to that battle there in the finale next week at the Melbourne Circuit in Australia.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and thanks for hosting.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining, bro. And we'll see you again soon.
All right, take care.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, that was Dominic Charles who finished in P2. And right now we have Stefano Barrera of Nova Racing, who, as it stands, it could very well be his day to just cap off a very brilliant drive. I believe he has clinched the first place in the overall championship standings, not just for bronze, but for the overall championship standings. Estefano Barrero sits now atop of the league, did come in a good 37 points ahead of the field behind, had an epic, well, a very clean race, had a chase down for Riley for P2 in race 1, and then just had to keep it clean and kept it steady for the second race, finishing off in P4, if I remember correctly. Estefano, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Man, congratulations. What an epic drive. Again, I did apologize to the other drivers about the start this at the beginning of this evening, but nonetheless we got through it, and to say the least, it was a successful event. So congratulations to you, sir. It seems as if you've clinched first place in the prize pool and in the overall standings. Any feelings there?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I mean, no problems for the celebrations. I know these things happen, so no, don't worry about it. Great event. Yeah. I mean, I'm not safe in first place. I still need to do a race. There is a race to go, so
Definitely.
I need to survive. I mean, with all the I get weight in all the races, extra weight, so it's all about surviving and having a great position in race one because it's the one that matters, and then in
Mhm.
second one just survive as much as I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very happy actually because I have a the next race will be very calm. Like I don't need to push or anything. So yeah, I think I was a bit lucky through the championship, but racing is also about luck. So it's not my problem in that matter. I mean, I have some great drives, but there was also a bit of luck involved.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll see what the next race goes.
Absolutely. And you can just walk us through. Well, you had that battle with yourself and Riley. You were very patient. It seemed as if you knew you had the pace, and it was just to choose a moment when you would make the move. Can you walk us through that battle in race 1?
Yeah, hard compound feels a lot better in BMW. I confirmed that in race two, but in race one, I had a pretty bad start, but I knew that I had the pace with her, so it was just about um, uh, reaching him, and he's a very keen driver, so we had a very good battle there. Not too hard. He didn't defend too hard, and I'm thankful because I wasn't expecting to get involved into a battle there because I think Dominic was right behind. So yeah, I was just looking for second place because Roger didn't have weight and he was just flying. And second place was just very good for me there. I
Right.
could take it. It was just chilling in race one, trying to get my job done.
Well, epic race there, Stefano. And again, thank you for joining another season. And what an epic battle this has been for you. This is your first CTCC season, as a matter of fact, and looking forward to many more. And we hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed putting it on and watching. But congratulations on P2 and P4 this evening.
Yeah, thank you. These cars are really fun to drive. I need to understand this car better because I have been several races suffering with it. And I think the weight is also a factor, but I have still a bit of a skill issue compared to drivers like Jaden. Drive this car like daily.
Well, you are very much so in the top three at least, so especially finishing the championship in P1. So, well, let's see again for the second tour in a month time. So, again, congratulations, bro, and looking forward to many more.
Thank you, Stephen. A great event, a great host, and see you in the next race.
Absolutely, and thank you too. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Noble Racing driver Mr. Estefano Barrero, who finished off this first race in P2 and the second race in P4. But now we have the winner from race 1. He did trail P2 in the driver standings by only 1.5 points. Did take victory in the first race, and I believe it was P6 in the second race. So that should take him into P2 and even extend himself a little bit. Mr. Rohey Robinson. Rohey, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't
Rohey,
get the last part. Yeah,
sorry, repeat that?
I didn't get the last part.
Oh, well, I was just asking if you could hear us.
Oh, yes.
Well, first of all, brother, congratulations on P1 in race 1. You had to fight your way through from, I think it was P12 at one point to make your way up to P6. So you can talk to us through that battle. But as I had to apologize to everybody before, I'm going to apologize to you as well at that delayed start and the issues at the beginning. You know, it was unfortunate. Hopefully, it didn't throw you off your game too much, but clearly it didn't, especially for the first race, because you had just put in a demanding race, lap after lap. You just took it by the horn, and you said it to me before that this was going to be your race, and I did say I'd keep my hands, my camera off of you, and so said, so done, up until the final moments, until you took victory, taking P1. Could you walk us through the feeling when you realized that you had the pace, especially after such a demanding qualifying session?
For race 1, I knew that once I got the first 2 laps out of the way, then that's it, game over. I had the confidence for race 1. Race 2 was just about getting as much points as possible, but I messed up in the start. I actually activated my pit limiter when I should have deactivated it. So
Oh no.
that was the reason why I fell back straight to P12, P13, I think. But I did everything I could to get back. So, well, I could have done better, but I'll settle for it.
Well, epic run through nonetheless to finish in P6. Again, in the championship standings, your rival Daniel Velez was talking about trying to hoard you off, but as well, Dominic Charles was only 4.5 points behind you. So I'm sure he himself will be trying to throw a little bit of extra drama next week. He says he wants the silver class championship for himself. So you have some competition here going into Melbourne. Any thoughts going into the final round of the first tour of 2025?
For Melbourne, I'm not worried because I've raced at that track before. I think I should have the pace to at least be close to Daniel or probably beat Daniel for that race. I'm more focusing on P2. If something happens to Estefano, then that would help me a lot. But I think I should be confident in getting P2 comfortably. I think also I should be comfortable in winning the class championship.
Ooh.
So, yeah, P2 in overall standings, winner class championship. That's what I will settle for.
And you've heard it here, folks. Rohey Robinson is going for the crown for the silver class as well. If by some miracle he can pull off the points to take it to Estefano, it would have to be a miracle, but still, never say never. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right maths, but still, we'll check it after and we'll keep you updated and we will update you for next week. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of the stream. I'm not seeing Jaden Harrison in the chat for commentary, so we will close off tonight. But Rohey, as the race winner from race 1, do you have any final thoughts for your your fans here who have been tuning in and waiting for you all night.
Yeah, sorry for the delayed start, but thank you for watching. I'll do my best next time. Thanks,
Absolutely.
guys.
And congratulations to you, Rohey. Congratulations to all the drivers here finishing off this race. It was a long night, but that being said, it was still done as best as possible. Congratulations to you, Rohey, finishing off in P1 and in P6. And epic, and cannot wait to see you next week.
All right, thanks. No problem.
And ladies and gentlemen, that does bring tonight's race to an end. And what an evening of battles this has been. It's been a long night, if I do say so myself. And we will bring it to a close. I've been your host this evening, Mr. Stephen Stewart, El Presidente, they typically call me. And we will definitely see you next week for the finale here at Melbourne Circuit in Australia. And we'll be back with the action in only a week's time. I've been your host. You've been amazing. You've been the grandest of grand fans. And we'll see you in a week.